With that, I would like to turn to our next panelist, Ioana Bauer, who's been active in the area of protecting human rights and dignity since 2005, and since 2010, she has dedicated her efforts to addressing human trafficking. Ioana has led and shaped prevention activities, developed materials on the issue, and conducted capacity building activities after working directly with survivors of human trafficking. Ioana is an Ashoka Fellow, a 2020 Resilience Fellow, and is recognized as one of the women leaders advancing the UN SDGs globally. Ioana served as a policy advisor in the Office of the Prime Minister in the Romanian government, where she led on topics related to child safety and preventing and combating human trafficking. Currently, Ioana serves as a chairwoman on the board of eLiberare, a leading Romanian anti-trafficking CSO. So, Ioana, I would like to turn to you and ask you the following. You're heading one of the major anti-trafficking NGOs in Romania. Civil society organizations are essential actors and main partners in finding solutions, especially when we are talking about technologies, bringing innovative solutions in the action against online sexual exploitation. In your view, what mechanisms should be established to prevent distribution and assist in removal of all online trafficking-related content?
Thank you so much. First of all, let me start by saying that it is an honor and a joy to actually be here with a lot of come-alongsiders who are working tirelessly to make this world a safer and more equitable place for women and girls and those most vulnerable among us. Also, a huge thank you to the organizers. This is a very timely discussion, and a thank you to all my panelists who preceded me, and I'm sure that the ones who follow will also give me a lot of lessons. I am learning a lot, and I'm very, very grateful. To proceed with your question, Tatiana, I think we still need to unpack it a little bit. Unfortunately, we see that more and more human trafficking cases have an online element, whether we're talking about the recruitment phase, whether we're talking about the actual exploitation, or whether we're talking about the continuous redistribution of traffic-produced materials. Very few countries, for example, have laws that speak about trafficking for the purpose of pornography production. Even fewer countries actually enforce those laws. We also have a lag in updating legislation on online sexual exploitation and abuse of children. Globally, there are still agencies who unfortunately say that if a physical act hasn't been recorded, then there's no way that a trafficking offense can be registered or prosecuted. I think that in order to actually be able to prevent this type of trafficking, we need to actually acknowledge that it exists. We need to acknowledge that it's way more prevalent, and we've heard the numbers, they're absolutely staggering. And also, we're talking about overlapping emergencies. We barely came out of the COVID-19 pandemic. We see different conflicts that are boiling all across the world. We see major movement of migrants. So in order to be able to properly address this, we need to acknowledge that it's actually happening, and we need to give it the importance that it deserves. At eLiberare, we just launched a study that looks at the behavior of teenagers and young people online. I am from Romania. Unfortunately, my country has gained the reputation of being one of the video chat capitals of the world. And it was also very much affected by toxic masculinity, as the one displayed by the Tate brothers recently. And that has become somewhat of a norm for his young followers, for their young followers. What we found in the study was that out of 500 young people, 97% of them said that they were accessing the internet freely from their mobile phones. Absolutely no restrictions. 81% of the respondents knew about platforms such as OnlyFans, that was already mentioned, and said that a lot of their peers were on them. 20% of them said that these platforms were totally okay and safe, and actually 14% said they would consider using these platforms themselves to generate income. Also, 63% of the young people interviewed said that they were aware of peers who were performing sexual acts in exchange of material gain. This tells us that we need to move our awareness campaigns, our educational programs, and our informational materials online. I think we are past the point of handing out flyers and posters and hoping that they are going to work. Also, in view of those results, I believe that it is also time to call a spade a spade. We have websites that, just because they call themselves classifieds or dating websites or adult entertainment sites, although it's really hard for me to understand what exactly in violence, abuse, and exploitation is entertaining, they can function with impunity. There's absolutely no restrictions, neither for the owners and the ones profiting directly from the site, nor from their users, the ones who are creating the demand, the ones who are responsible for the fact that we are now seeing more and more women and girls being trafficked for sexual exploitation. There is absolutely no sane reason for which these platforms are still legal, and there's no liability there. And we heard that the way that we're governing the internet right now on a voluntary basis, basically to report exploitation, that doesn't work. So we need very clear and strict regulations on that. I think that in order to prevent the distribution of trafficking-related content, we need to make it harder to actually upload these images. We need to make sure that there is not a multitude of websites or platforms in which traffickers and abusers can benefit from actually distributing this. Otherwise, what happens is we allow gateways for traffickers to continue to monetize the repeated rapes of their victims, even of those who had the courage and the perseverance and the stamina to face their exploiters and are now survivor leaders but are still being confronted with their exploitation and abuse in the online realm. As with other topics, and Mandy has already mentioned this, partnership is key. Whether it is working with tech companies in order to become trusted flaggers and create deterrence campaigns, or being present from the design phase when it comes to the different apps or programs or platforms. As a representative of the third sector, we can all make a difference there, and we all should demand our seat at the table, actually. We need to make sure that we continue to seek innovation and develop new cutting-edge solutions, as well as thinking of solutions in which those most vulnerable are already tech native. We actually did this in the crisis response on Ukraine. We were very much debating whether we should launch a new app, but after talking to experts by experience who then became our Ukrainian colleagues, we realized that actually using technology that Ukrainians were already native in, specifically Telegram Messenger, we'd be able to reach more people. Now, anti-trafficking campaigns rarely become viral, but this time, being able to use a platform that refugees were already on, we were able to gain about 2,200 followers to the broadcasting channel that actually gives out safety information and is also a safe reporting place, a safe reporting mechanism, which is also absolutely vital when it comes to combating tech-facilitated trafficking. So therefore, to summarize what we can do as CSOs, one, advocate for clear legislation when it comes to the online realm. Two, bring our initiatives of prevention and deterrence in the online sphere and prioritize proactive identification through innovative solutions in partnership with the private sector. And three, identify and eradicate the loopholes that create impunity for those operating the platforms and those using the platforms who clearly profit from sex trafficking and sexual exploitation of mainly women and children, currently with no serious repercussions. I think that as we celebrate International Women's Day today, we owe it to ourselves and to our sisters everywhere to make sure that what we wouldn't accept in the physical realm, we will not accept in the online realm either. Therefore, thank you so much for joining us in this fight. Thank you.